There are 7 distinct levels of growing a business, and after speaking with thousands of different business owners, I found that most entrepreneurs actually have no idea where they're actually at. A lot of the time, that's the exact reason that they're stuck. You could be grinding away thinking you're doing everything right, but if you're at level 3 trying to use level 6 strategies, you're going to burn out before you even see real results. That's why I've mapped out the 7 distinct levels of business, from the idea stage where the business hasn't made a dollar yet, all the way to industry leader generating multiple 7-8 figures in revenue. Each level has its own playbook, its own bottlenecks, and its own path forward. And if you're currently running a business or wanting to start one, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly where you are, why you're stuck there, and the specific moves you need to make to get to the next level. All right, level 1, the dreamer. Revenue level here is $0. This is where everyone starts when they start on their business journey. And honestly, most people never leave this stage. This is the person who just discovered entrepreneurship is actually a thing. Maybe they have a skill set. Maybe it's design, marketing, coding, sales, whatever it is. And they're fascinated by the idea of working for themselves. They're watching YouTube videos at 2 a.m. They're listening to podcasts on their commute. They're buying courses that they may never finish. And honestly, I remember when this was me. I was literally working in a call center. I'd see successful people and think, why not me? I'd watch podcasts all the time about successful business stories and think to myself, this could be me. But I wasn't actually doing anything. I was just consuming. I was just dreaming. And that's where most people get stuck. And they talk a lot about starting a business, but they never actually start. And what's holding them back is fear, perfectionism, information overload. They think that they need to know everything before they can start anything. So to level up here, you need to stop consuming content. You need to stop planning. You need to pick one idea and take one action today that could lead to making money. We just need to prove that you can monetize your skill set. This could be posting an offer on social media. This could be sending a cold email to a potential client. This could be doing free work to somebody that you know to prove your skill set and get your first case study. Look, the goal isn't the perfect business. It's to make your first dollar. Execution will beat preparation every single time. All right, once you finally take the leap, you hit level 2, which is the hustler. The revenue at this level is around $0 to around $5,000 a month. This person finally launched something. They posted their offer on Facebook. They told their friends that they're taking on clients. They sent some cold DMs on Instagram. Now they're hustling their face off to make their first few sales, doing everything themselves. They're doing the sales, they're doing the delivery, they're doing the invoicing, they're doing the customer service via text message. And I remember when I was in the hustler mode, and this is exactly how I launched. I did basically free work to get my foot in the door, and I was attending a bunch of networking events. I posted on social media constantly. I did everything that I could do to get jobs and just figure it out once I actually got the job. And I was personally amazed when I got my first client, even though I was massively undercharging and didn't have any fulfillment figured out whatsoever. I just wanted to prove my skill set and show myself that I could do this and get that first payment, which I will never forget that feeling. And at this level, guys, you are resourceful. You are literally just figuring it out as you go. Every project is different because there's literally no process for you yet. And you should just be saying yes and figuring it out later. You should not care about what they're paying you because you're making money from something that you built. So at this point, how you can actually level up is to focus, okay? This is where you stop doing 10 different things and you pick one offer that you can deliver really well for that client. And you build one way to consistently get clients and get clients actual results. And once you're able to figure that out, you hit level 3, which is the operator. The revenue amount here is around $5,000 to maybe $25,000 a month. You're making real money, but you are drowning in work. The business owner here figured out how to consistently maybe get clients and have some cash flow, but they're doing everything themselves. They are waking up to client emails. They're all day on Zoom calls. They're emailing clients back and forth. And I was at this point too. And this is when things for me got super, super real. I'd proven I could monetize what I offered, but I was grinding all the time. I was getting, decent clients, but I was the bottleneck to everything inside of the business. And actually, my girlfriend broke up with me because I wasn't present. I would be at the dinner table checking Slack and trying to respond to clients. I was always on my laptop. I felt like I had 5 jobs going on. I was saying yes to every client request because I was terrified they'd leave. I couldn't take a vacation. I couldn't take a sick day because if I stopped working, then revenue would stop. And at this level, you're probably doing tons of manual work as well, spending 2-3 hours a day sending cold emails to try to get your next client. You're manually following up. You're tracking in spreadsheets, maybe 30 emails a day max. And this is where I started to use a tool like Instantly.ai, which became a game changer for me because I could start to automate my entire outreach to hundreds and thousands of people every single day and send personalized emails to them so that I could focus on delivery while my sales pipeline stayed full. But even then, you're still doing all of the sales calls, the delivery, client management. And this is a trap that most entrepreneurs get stuck in. They haven't built a real business. They've really just built themselves a demanding job. So how you can actually level up here is just accept the fact that you can't do it alone. You need people. Hire your first team member and start documenting processes so that someone else can do what you are doing. This is how you scale. So once we make that shift, then we make it to level 4, which is the team builder. The revenue at this level is around $25,000 up to even $75,000 a month. At this point, you finally realize that you need help, and now you're learning how to build and manage a team. And now this person who's at this level is learning a new skill set, which is management. And for me, this is where things changed massively. After completely burning out in my business, I hired my first team member, and it was honestly life-changing for me. But my first hire was terrible. I threw them in the deep end. There's no training, there's no systems. It was just like, here's what I need, just go figure it out. And what happened is they became super overwhelmed. I was frustrated. It was a total mess. And I realized that hiring people isn't the solution, but it was building systems for people to follow is. So at this stage, what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out how to hire without getting burned. And what we're trying to figure out is how to train people when everything is in our head. How do we delegate without micromanaging? So what we need to start doing is building SOPs for the first time, recording Loom videos, creating checklists. And what you'll see here is the business is going to start to grow. At this level for us, we developed what we call our agency operating system, where we can then basically build systems so that we can plug people in to run those systems. One of my favorite quotes that stuck with me for a long time when it comes to business is that systems run the business, people run the systems. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. All of the most successful businesses, they're run off of their system, all their SOPs. It's not like the CEO of McDonald's is flipping hamburgers. They've developed systems so that they can plug people in to work those systems. And at this point, you will have leverage. You can take a day off and things don't completely fall apart. You stop working 80 hours a week. But what holds people back at this level is just managing tasks and not building leaders. A lot of people at this level, they're still the bottleneck because everyone reports to them. And to level up at this level, we need to hire differently, okay? We need to stop looking for just doers and we want to start hiring and building leaders. Whenever I hire somebody, I think to myself, can this person be the leader of the department that I'm hiring them for? Not just do the tasks that I tell them to do and micromanage and spend a bunch of time asking them if they got something done. All right, once you figure that out, then we move on to level 5, which is the leader. The revenue around here is anywhere from $75,000 to $200,000 a month even. And at this point, you've built a real team with real leaders, and the business finally works without you being in every single detail. This business owner isn't doing the work. They're leading people who do the work. They've hired team leads, they've hired department heads, they've hired managers at the companies, and there's actual layers at the company. The moment for me when I realized that I was at this level is I took a 14-day vacation to Portugal with my wife. And I came back and the business actually grew while I was gone. That is freedom. And at this level, your job is now strategy and growing the business, not just execution. So how you can level up is you need to get out of everything except what you can only do, meaning strategic decisions, vision, big partnerships, capital allocation. Let your team run the operations. And the goal here is to transition from leader to becoming a true CEO. And that leads us to level 6, which is the CEO. And the revenue around here is around $200,000 to around $500,000 plus a month. And at this point, business is fully operational without you. You're purely focused on needle moving activities. This business owner actually has a company, not just a business. They have an executive team or running the operations. There's leadership teams making daily decisions. Departments are functioning independently. The company has its own momentum, its own culture, and its own brand. The CEO's job is to focus only on activities that move the needle, thinking in years, not just months. When my business hit this level, my calendar looked completely different than it did 2 years before that. At this point, my business is predictable, it's profitable, it's scalable, and I've built something that actually works. And at this level, how you can start to level up is to leverage what you built. Take the playbook and repeat it in adjacent markets or models. And now the goal really becomes what we call multiplication. And this is the final level, level 7, the multiplier. Look, at this point, you have cracked the code. and now you're just needing to repeat it. This entrepreneur isn't just running one business, they're starting to build a portfolio. They took the model that worked and they started repeating it in a similar or an adjacent market. That's what multiplication is. Think about people like Alex Hormozi. He built a gym, then he built Gym Launch to help other gyms, then he built Prestige Labs, which is supplements for all of his gym owners in the gyms that he was working for, then acquisition.com. They're the same core skills, just multiple businesses generate hundreds of millions of dollars. At this level, it's about making money while you sleep and having true leverage and true wealth inside of your business. You're no longer trading your time for money. You've built systems, teams, assets, and your goal is legacy, impact, generational wealth. All right, so those are these 7 levels of a business. Now, if you haven't started a business yet, or if you're at the beginning stages of starting a business, or you just want to see what it looks like to actually start a business from complete scratch, click here on the video on the screen, because in that video, I literally start a brand new business from zero, and in 10 hours, take that business from the idea stage all the way to level 2 or 3, maybe even 4, and actually make a sale. So we will see you over there.